The longtime superstar rapper P Diddy has lately been on the limelight for various criminal allegations. A critical question about this is it the beginning of an absolute fall of his hip-hop empire? All right, gather round folks and let me firstly tell you about Puff Daddy P Diddy Sean Combs, the man who turned hustle into a hip-hop empire. But before the mansion parties and shiny awards, Sean's story began on a much different modesty stage. We're talking Harlem, New York City in the late 1960s, when it wasn't all glitz and glamour and Sean lived with his mama Janice Combs and his sister Keisha Combs in a tiny apartment after his father Melvin Earl Combs died when he was only 2 years old. Money was tight, but Janice, a strong woman who worked tirelessly as a teacher's aide, did everything she could to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. But Sean, even as a young fella, possessed a spark that poverty couldn't dim. However, he pursued his career in entertainment, starting off as a backup dancer in the shadows of hip-hop giants, where he would hustle and attend auditions, chasing his dreams in the background, which later had his dedication noticed, his infectious enthusiasm, and his keen eye for talent. Sean wasn't just a dancer, but a mover and shaker that knew how to get things done, and this caught the eye of other artists, from where he found himself dancing behind artists like Big Daddy Kane and even the legendary singer Usher. Central to the upcoming rap industry king was a bright kid who excelled in school, but the streets seemingly called to him too, probably to take the steps of his father, who was famously a drug dealer. A great enabler was his hometown Harlem, a city alive in the 70s with the sounds of hip-hop in its infancy and block parties that pulsed with beats. DJs spun fire, and MCs dropping rhymes that painted pictures of their reality, which Sean soaked it all in, and rhythm seeped into his soul. Having seen the struggle his mama faced and the sacrifices she made, Sean Combs knew he had to make something of himself to honor his father's memory and build a better life for his family, and evidently high school became Sean's battlefield where he aced his classes, a natural leader with an infectious charisma. Nevertheless, the hustler spirit never left him, and he would be famous for promoting parties, and his magnetic personality, drawing crowds, hence snagged the nickname Puff. The unstoppable Sean pushed through to the end irrespective of the copious events, and after graduating landed a scholarship to Howard University, famously a prestigious, historically black college where he dove into business, but the lure of hip-hop was too strong. His passion for music had him interning at Uptown Records, a legendary label where his hustle truly came alive, and he was convincing anyone who'd listen about the rappers he believed in. This confirmed at an early stage that Sean would see talent where others didn't. His ear tuned to the streets and wasn't afraid to work nights and weekends with a relentless energy that was impossible to ignore. Sean Combs wasn't and isn't just a businessman, but someone that channels his grief and hustle into something extraordinary. He understands the music, the artists, the streets. From his start as an intern at Uptown Records, he spoke their language and wasn't just filing papers, but walking radar. His ears glued to the streets, searching for raw talent, and could see potential where others saw rough diamonds. He believed in these artists, their stories, and the power of their rhymes to paint a picture of the streets they came from. And after starting to turn heads, he left Uptown to launch his own label, famously Bad Boy Records, which saw artists like Notorious B.I.G., alias Christopher Wallace, Mace, and The Lox flocking to his label, drawn to his vision and relentless drive. Sean's label generally recognized a new wave in hip-hop, a raw energy that resonated with the streets. He argued, he hustled, he even promoted artists himself, throwing legendary club nights that became the talk of the town. At Sean's start of building a hip-hop empire is his album with Biggie, Ready to Die, in 1994, which was a sonic earthquake with vivid storytelling and unflinching honesty that painted a picture of life on the East Coast streets. It was interestingly a cultural phenomenon that pushed East Coast hip-hop back to the forefront, igniting a friendly rivalry with the West Coast's Death Row Records. But tragedy struck in 1997 when the Notorious B.I.G. was murdered, turning to a senseless loss that rocked the music world, which left Sean devastated and had to pour his grief into his own music. He donned the persona of Puff Daddy, a larger-than-life figure who channeled his pain into chart-topping hits. His debut album, No Way Out, was a masterpiece of contradictions with tracks like Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, pulsating with defiance while I'll Be Missing You, which is famously a tribute to Biggie featuring Faith Evans, brought tears to eyes worldwide. This became the first hip-hop song to debut at #1 on the Billboard chart, becoming a testament to the power of Puff Daddy and his music. Now, some folks criticized Puff Daddy for being too flashy for commercializing hip-hop. But here's the thing. He understood the game. He knew how to make music that resonated with a mainstream audience without sacrificing its raw energy. He pushed boundaries, blurring the lines between hip-hop and R&B, creating a sound that was undeniably bad boy. So the next time you hear a bad boy beat or a Diddy anthem, remember the story behind it all. It's a story of ambition, of heartbreak that fueled creativity, and of a young man who dared to change the game one beat at a time. Notably, Sean's road to fame wasn't only about production, but he recognized the power of branding and reinvention. He became P Diddy in the early 2000s, a businessman at the helm of a growing empire, encompassing clothing, television, and fragrance, which had some seeing this as a departure from his hip-hop roots, while it was actually an extension of his hustle of taking his vision beyond the music. All right, guys? This road to fame and success story ain't all sunshine and platinum records. We gotta talk about P Diddy and the dark side of his fame. Remember, these are just allegations, mind you, but serious ones. In 2023, a cloud settled over Diddy's empire. Drugs have always been a shadow in the music industry, and whispers followed Diddy too, with numerous arrests and charges, but all were eventually dismissed. Nonetheless, smoke lingered, and in 2023 were chilling allegations of multiple women, sex trafficking, sexual harassment, even non-consensual pornography. Lawsuits flew, painting a disturbing picture of abuse of power, but Diddy settled one lawsuit quickly. Nonetheless, others loomed large, staining his reputation, such as singer and dancer Cassie's suit for years of abuse, rape, and being beaten by the hip-hop mogul. Up to date, Diddy has not found any immunity from the numerous accusations, and the damage is done to his brand and achievements at large. The image of the self-made mogul, the one who rose from humble beginnings, is tarnished, and although Diddy's music may still bump, the ongoing allegations have created a bitter aftertaste among his fans, some of which have openly expressed themselves on various social media platforms, especially Twitter, with most of them claiming he should be jailed for justice to be served to his victims. Not even his early hip-hop buddies like 50 Cent have spared expressing their bitterness towards the mogul, which has worsened his state. 50 Cent has had initial clashes with Diddy, accusing him of shortchanging, while Diddy questioned 50 Cent's loyalty, which has resulted in a lot of public disses aimed through interviews and diss tracks played out on MTV and blasting from car stereos everywhere. Interestingly, Diddy's beef with 50 Cent is just among the many he has had with other hip-hop industry giants like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Drake, Nas, whose jabs at each other have always kept the hip-hop gossip rags buzzing. Looking back, Diddy's collaborations and beefs are a reflection of the man himself. A complex figure, a dreamer who built an empire, an entrepreneur and a deal-maker who wasn't afraid to throw a punch, verbally of course. He navigated the treacherous waters of the music industry, emerging as a powerful force with over $1 billion net worth. But now the key question is, will he and his empire survive the recent lawsuits of abuse, sexual violence, and sex trafficking?